All right, folks, welcome back to episode 7 of your favorite series, Claude for Marketing. And today I'm going to focus on how brand managers can leverage Claude to make their life easier. So, today I'm going to focus on telling you about 4 skills, each of which is extremely useful for a brand manager in their everyday function. The 4 skills that we're going to cover are going to be production skills. So these are skills that are going to produce something for you. And we're going to look at 4 different documents that act as the pillars of any brand. Number one, a tone of voice document. Number two, a brand voice system. Number three, a brand kit foundation. And number four, your brand audit proposal. See, these are the documents that define how a company sounds and how it's going to be perceived. And they almost never get built because nobody has the time to start from scratch. So, today I'm going to show you how to produce all 4 using a single fictional brand called Kova Consulting. This time we've picked a B2B management consulting firm that's never formalized its brand as a dummy because we have been focusing on B2C the entire series. By the end of this episode, Kova will probably have more brand infrastructure than most real companies at this point. And that serves as an opportunity for you to reach out and look for more freelancing work. But before the demos, I want to actually spend 2 minutes on something that determines whether any of this actually works. Okay, let me tell you about the 3 principles that you need to know about before you even touch a skill as a brand manager. Principle number 1. Format is a strategic decision and it's not a preference. See, a Word document is a living document. Your team will open it, will update it, they'll add examples, they'll paste it into onboarding materials. So it needs to be editable, structured well enough that someone can add a section 6 months from now without breaking the formatting. So DOCX is the right output for documents that live inside your organization and get maintained. Second is a PDF. A PDF is a locked document. You're sending it to someone who will read it and decide something based on it. You don't want them editing it. You don't want them formatting to shift on a different device. You want the PDF to be the right output for deliverables. So think about reports, proposals, audits, anything that's going to either your client or your leadership team. So the same brief, different purpose, yet different skills. So get this wrong and you produce the right document but in the wrong format, which means it won't get used or it won't get read at all. Number two, the principle that I want to focus on is the brief is the creative work. See, the skill can only work with what you actually give it. So, if you give it a vague brief, it will produce a vague document. The briefs I am using today are extremely specific. It has a specific audience, it has a specific content, it has specific format instructions. When your first output isn't quite right, the fix is almost always in the brief, not in actually editing the output after the fact. Rewrite the brief before you even touch the document. That's principle number 2. And principle number 3 is that Claude is your thinking partner. It's not just a formatter. This is the part that most people actually miss. They think of AI just as a tool, but I want you to think of AI as a brainstorming partner. The demos today aren't just about producing documents faster. A brand voice system actually requires judgment about what a company should and shouldn't sound like and why. A positioning statement requires strategic thinking. Claude does that work and it just doesn't do the layout. Keep that in mind as you watch ahead. Hi, folks. We are now going to begin and we're going to create the document for the B2B management consulting firms. So, Kova Consulting is a B2B management consulting firm with about 40 consultants. It's extremely fast growing. The firm has a voice, right? It just lives in people's heads right now and comes out differently depending on who's writing a proposal. The document I'm building is called a tone of voice guide, something every consultant at Kova can use when they're writing client communications, proposals, LinkedIn posts, anything that goes out under the firm's name. So you see the Claude interface, you're very, very acquainted with this, and I hope you are. Now, let me give it a quick prompt. So, I am using a tool called Whisperflow here. It lets you think of ideas, right? It has two options of whether to polish what you're saying or prompt engineer. I'm choosing prompt engineer right now, and I'm going to quickly utilize this skill so that I can dictate what exactly I want. Tone of voice document for Kova Consulting. Kova Consulting is a B2B management consulting firm with about 40 consultants. The document audience is all consultants plus the marketing and business development team. Uh, Four tone of voice principles need to be followed. Number one, direct and precise, no jargon, no filler. Say exactly what you mean in as few words as it takes. Include a do and do not example for that. Number two, make it confidence without arrogance, authoritative but never dismissive of the client's existing thinking. Include a do not and do example in that as well. Number three, human despite the subject matter. Consulting can feel cold and abstract. Koa's writing should feel like advice from a smart colleague, not a report from a firm. Include a do not and do example in this as well. Number four, practical over theoretical. So every recommendation comes with a concrete next step. No principle without application. Include a do not example in this as well. Document structure should be overview section explaining why tone of voice matters for the firm. Then the four principles each with a do not example formatted as a two-column table. Then a writing checklist of 10 practical rules. Then a one-page quick reference summary at the end. The format should be properly structured Word document with heading hierarchy, page breaks between major sections, do not examples as two column tables with don't as column headers. So it is going to process, and if you see, it has everything here, right? It's almost like a prompt. So I have this here. So now I'm going to add something more. Using this document, create a custom skill. So let's do this step later once it's given me the document. Right now, my focus is building the document. See, a tone of voice document has one job, right? It needs to be clear enough that someone who has never thought about brand voice can read it and immediately write better. It needs to be more than be authentic or be like the brand because that's not guidance. Or do not example showing the difference between a vague opening and a direct one. That would be better guidance, right? So watch for that output. We will look at that for the output once it's done. So it is creating the document at the moment. So just let's quickly take a break and come back once it's generated. All right. If you see here, I'm a bit confused because the first page seems to be upside down somehow. Okay, this can happen with Claude. So I'm going to quickly write this. The first page is upside down. Fix it. This much is enough for Claude to fix it. But you see, we have an overview. I don't know if you can read it, but then we have the principle, the first principle, and then what's going to happen, the do's and the don'ts, right? So similarly here, principle number two, principle number three, and principle number four, right? And then the writing checklist, a quick reference, and what to remove, what not to remove. Okay, so there we go. It's here. So this gives completely what it is, and this is the brief document that you can save, and then you can share it with your team. At the same time, you can also open this in Drive, so it automatically saves to Drive, and you can utilize it there as well. Well, this was all for the first thing. Now, I will show you a quick trick that you can use, and you can share this as not just a document, but I'm going to actually quickly save this. And all right, hi friends. So, what I'm going to do now is that I am going to utilize the DOCX skill and create the other three documents. So, the brand voice system, the brand kit foundation, and the brand audit proposal, the all three of them, so that we will understand how we can utilize the DOCX skill to create it. And at the end, using these documents that we've created, we will create a custom skill that is going to be helpful for my entire team, which has access to Claude, to automatically format and adhere to these guidelines. So, not only are we going to give them the guidelines, we're also going to teach them how to utilize it. Now, the second brief is a little bit more demanding. So, the brief that I'm going to give Claude, it's going to ask Claude to make judgment calls about what COA should and shouldn't sound like based on the company's positioning and the competitive context. So, what I have done is I have written the entire prompt for you already. I am just going to quickly copy paste it here. And if you see here, the brand voice system for Coa Consulting, it's given the company positioning. So, what exactly does it do? What it is not? What's the competitive context? What's the document structure going to be? So, there's going to be a vocabulary guide, a sentence structure guide, a register by channel, because what you write on LinkedIn cannot work on Instagram, and what you write on Instagram will not work on LinkedIn. And then section number 4, so what good co-writing would sound like. I'm going to quickly give this and wait for it to run. While that is running, what I can do is I can actually place all of these conversations into a project. Now, what's a project? A project is a space where I can keep all my conversations that are related to one particular topic in a folder. So now you see it says Coa Consulting slash brand voice system. I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to add this as well into the Coa Consulting project. So now when I go to project and I go to Coa Consulting, you see that you will be able to see this. Now this says that it wasn't sent. It's because I moved it. Oh, it is working already. Is it? It is working. Just give me a quick second. I'm going to quickly send it. And now it's making the entire brand voice document. Okay. While that is happening, I'm also going to open up another new chat, and I'm going to give it the prompt for the brand kit foundation and the prompt for the brand audit proposal. Now, mind you, the brand audit proposal is actually a proposal that is for investment. So, the situation usually in a brand audit proposal will be related to a PDF and not a DOCX. So, I am going to wait for that one because these three are the only ones that we're going to utilize to actually get a skill made for the brand voice. Okay, here's how you're going to go about creating a skill using all the docs that you just created. So I'm going to attach the the three documents. I keep saying four because I'm teaching you four skills, but the three documents. And I'm going to invoke the skill creator and say, create a specific skill that captures all the aspects in these documents. So instead of attaching these documents here, you can also attach them here inside the project so that every time you invoke something, let's say a conversation. So instead of attaching it here, right, you can directly add this in while you are reading this out. So it will now reference those three documents to understand how to create the skill. It may ask you some more questions, so let it ask the questions, and then it'll basically talk about how it is, right? So it's now building a tight, well structured skill that captures all of them. So now it's going to use the main skill MD file. Okay, this is the skill MD file, and it's going to write the main skill MD file of what it is, what it has to do, what it doesn't have to do, etc. And then it's going to give you all the information. So it's read the skill creator instructions. This is an inbuilt skill in Claude, right? And yeah, so now you basically wait for the magic to happen. Once the magic happens, you have this ready for you to go. Now, while this is happening, right, it can run parallel things. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to give it a document where I want actually a PDF to be created, right? Now, this we were working with DOCXs. Now let's talk about a PDF and how you can do that. So let's say the situation, right? So you're Kova's brand manager and they need to make the case to, let's say, six senior partners that the firm should invest in formalizing its brand. The partners are time poor and skeptical of the brand spend, right? So Google Doc is not going to do the job for you. You will have to make a proper PDF report. Note what this document actually is actually a brand investment proposal and not a full audit. A proper audit is about 20 pages of research findings, right? This is a tight executive facing document that makes the case for commissioning one. Call it what it is when you're briefing, and the skill will produce the right document. So I had already generated, using my prompt engineering bit, a complete briefer of what my investment proposal should look like. And I'm just going to quickly send it, and it's going to do an entire audit and going to use the skill MD for PDF creation and create a PDF. See, the brief is written the way you would brief a consultant. So there are specific findings, there are specific data points, explicit audience that is mentioned, explicit purpose that's mentioned, the 71% client survey that is mentioned there as well. And it's going to be the stat that's mentioned is going to be very interesting for the senior stakeholders. So there is specific numbers that make the case in a way that the vague observations don't. The stat came from a fictional internal survey for COA, but the logic still holds, right? So find a specific number and put it in the brief so that you can utilize it for your brand. And now I'm going to quickly. Okay, by the time my formalization business case is happening here, I am going to quickly look at the brand creator and the brand writer skill that they have made. They have utilized all the different things, and now I have a skill that does it for me. In fact, your brand references, it is full of guidelines that we had first generated with the briefs, right? I could have done this without the documents also, but the documents can act as great references. So now what I'll show you is how you can manage the skill and add references here. So for example, there is a markdown file, right? So let's say in the skill I want to add more files, so I'm going to say something like edit with Claude, and let's see what happens. I have not tested this out myself, so I am figuring this out with you. So I'm going to quickly put these three and say, I want to add these as reference documents in the in the skill, right? We have also talked about how you can tweak the actual skill, and let's see whether it's going to be able to add all of these texts from these documents into the brand references. So while it's doing that, uh, brilliant. Now you can cross question it. See? Yes. So now it's going to quickly just edit it. And once this is done, now I've shown you how to edit your skill from the backend as well. So now it's adding the parts that were missing, and you can see completely what's going on. Okay. One thing that is worth flagging here is that I have created this, right? But all of these numbers are illustrative and the ranges are also illustrative. So it has used this PDF using Report Lab and it has made the entire PDF. So now you see that with the briefing like this, where you tell it the key findings, what it to do, and they kind of create like an executive summary report that can be done right here, right? And it's going to be extremely easy. So it's given a proper thing for now. The formatting may be off here and there, which it is. I have no idea why, what is happening with Claude in terms of its. Uh, see, it's now all right. Sometimes you just have to refresh it, it just goes a little haywire, right? But now you have this entire document, and this is something that you can send to your brand manager to actually to send to your higher officials, not your brand, as a brand manager, to get some money that you can utilize to make your life better. Now, so what we've seen is from a brief to a to a professional PDF proposal, and that too in about 5 minutes. So this is what it is, and this is what it will look like across a brand manager's ear, across a brand manager's ear of the kind of things that they're doing. You see, brand managers produce the same document categories. Um, on repeat, whether it's guidelines, voice systems, briefs, reports, proposals. It's just that the format varies, but the pattern does not. Here's what Claude can produce across a full brand year beyond what we demoed today: agency briefs, campaign naming frameworks, messaging hierarchies, positioning statement down to proof points, onboarding brand documents for new hires, brand review feedback on copy submissions, and visual identity usage rules for a design team. Something that we've created as a brand book. This shift and the shift that this creates is not just time, right? It's about what's possible. Most brand managers carry a mental list of documents that should exist. So, a proper voice system, an agency brief template, an onboarding guide that never get built because starting from scratch takes long time, and that kind of time nobody has. With the right brief, the barrier is in the document. It's just 20 minutes to write a good brief. One thing to carry forward, the judgment will always stay with you. So Claude will produce the structure. I've shown you how to do it. So whether it's the language, the framework, whether it's a positioning statement that's actually right for your company, that's absolutely your call. So use the output as a strong first draft, not the final answer. And today's closing question is this: what's the brand document your team needs but never has properly built? A tone guide, a messaging framework, a full voice system, an agency brief template, anything. Pick one and drop it below. I'll read all of them and it shapes what I get into deeper in the next episodes. This is the last role specific episode in this series. We've covered content writers, social media managers, marketing managers, performance marketers, and brand managers. Each role has its own skill, its own workflows, and its own demos. So I will quickly link all of them down in the description box. Episode 8 will pull all of it together and we will think about making one campaign with 5 skills running in sequence. everything from the series working as a single chain using the chaining technique. If you've watched in order, that's the episode where all of it will click with you. And now I will see you in the next one, and I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and tell us if you want the actual prompts to any of the briefs that we have used, and we will put it down and pin it in the comments. Well, see you next time. Bye bye.